Okay, hello folks, how are you? Good evening to everybody. Today we have a special guest and I see her right now. So I want her to send me request and then she will be with us. So first I want you to tell that today we will cover those topics that were highly requested in my Instagram account. So today we will talk about eating disorders. And today I have a special guest. Her name is Joanna Taylor. She's from Florida and she is a psychologist. So what I will do is let her join us. Welcoming to Joanna, and we're waiting for her. So, hi, Joanna, how are you?
Hello, Akmal. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So, thank you for being with us. And my audience were highly requested for some questions I want you to reveal in today's discussions. And there are some questions that I've sent you. I think today we will talk about eating disorder and what behavioral patterns can cause it in adults from early ages. Is it genes or is it behavioral patterns that were caused by, how to say that, behavioral from our parents? Is it related to that? How about intuitive eating and our dieting? So yes, I want you to start and then maybe we'll have some questions to add and we'll cover that. And thank you for being here again.
Thank you for inviting me. Okay, so I will start with the first question about genes. There is a science well known today called epigenetics, and it says that there is particular genes that are activated when a person starts some behavior, and there's special genes for anorexia that can be activated by particular behavior, for bulimia, and for binge eating. And what is interesting is that these genes can be turned on and turned off by a specific behavior. So should I describe it now, or we can talk about it later? Should we discuss about epigenetic?
Yeah, we can start with, but I want, the main point is that for me to understand, is it stress or is it a more dieting that can cause this in adult?
Okay, so these genes can be activated by a specific behavior, as I said, and the behavior is restricting food or dieting, a high physical activity, and I forgot. So, okay, restricted eating, high activity, and if the person starts also like cleaning, purchasing in others. Wait a minute. Yeah, restricting food and losing weight. Sorry. Yeah, losing weight. So, for example, if the person has that genes and he or she will never start that, or restricting food or losing weight, like a big amount of weight, or physical activities, he or she will never know that they can have an eating disorder. But if they do, so as soon as they start doing it, as soon as they start restricting their food or starting dieting, it can really, in a, how can I say it, really quickly start actually. And it will be more hard to stop it. So it is actually a very, very sensitive game, how to do it.
How much
So
time does it usually takes to develop this behavior?
interesting question. I guess it's very dependent on a person's life and activity and lifestyle. And of course, the amount of food he or she restricting, which calories amount, for example. If you remember Minnesota starvation experiment,
Yeah, can you tell us more about that because it's very interesting case.
the Minnesota starvation experiment was at 1944 and 1945. It was a military experiment that was actually trying to check how war and the hunger that was among the war affect human. So they were actually worrying because after the war, they were worrying how it can finish, like which behaviors they can expect from people who are starving and hungry. So they took soldiers. I guess there was 150, but I can be wrong. So they took that soldiers, and that soldiers actually was having died like 1,600 calories. So 1,600 calories per day. And what they saw after is that this guys was having soldiers or military person subjects has actually very big cravings for food. Also, they were focused on food, and they were trying to collect even recipes of food. They were binging on candies, and one of them even said that it's not very appropriate actually to say that here, but they said that they were masturbating on nutritions. That means that they were very obsessed with food, and even though they were thinking about food, they were trying to hide it, they were trying to eat it, they were trying to binge and so on. And even I guess if I'm right, there was even a person who was who like went inside and he had a cannibalism. So I guess he was
Oh
trying
my
to
God.
yeah, he was trying to eat his hand, if I'm right. So it's actually not yeah. So what they got to know is that hunger or restricting food, even that it was 1,600 calories, like it's actually nowadays diets, you know, that what usually people use when they're dieting, and that has a very very big impact on their life. So um, that was actually very clear, also showing that even if person, we do not know, but probably not most of them were having an this genes that can activate the eating disorder. So yeah, that's actually really really I can say even scary.
Okay, it's a really interesting thing because I considered myself as a very impulsive person, and I thought that my eating disorder was because of this cause. Because maybe my character led to this, but now I see that it's not only the character, even dieting, and I want to and I want to discuss today eating disorder not from the dieting standpoint, but from psychological standpoint. Can you tell more about the feelings that can cause this, or maybe describe a person who can be how to say that, can lead to these behavioral patterns
You
in
mean
future?
personal characteristics? Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
can be triggered by this.
trigger. Okay. I'm sorry. Is that trimming my back? Yeah. Is it very noisy?
No, that's okay.
Sorry for that. So yeah, it's actually not only about genes. Yeah, it's about patterns, behaviors that human has, and also about some personal characteristics that they have. And sometimes it's a comorbidity that goes aside. For example, if the person has obsessive compulsive syndrome or hyperactive syndrome, so it can affect behavior with food because the person will go very impulsively and compulsively with food, and about purchasing. So it's depend, but sometimes if we're talking, for example, about let's say bulimia person with bulimia, it can be about compulsive behavior, impulsive I would say, and this person can change the mood very frequently, and also what else is very specific? We used to say that this person, like that, let's say girls, and it's not about gender, but can dance on a table during the night, for example, for parties, and in the morning, he or she will cry all the morning. So it's about mood changings, not only caused of because of food or eating behavior. I mean, like when the person is hungry and there is a changing of the mood. So it's about the personal, I would say even a nervous system type. So the neurons are running more fast, if I can say that. Yeah, it's like more high speed of connection and more impulsive actions that happening. Yeah, I guess I forgot the second part of the question. Like
Well,
with or
yes, I
person.
have a question that I wanted to ask is that, okay, so it's not about food. If we talk about eating disorder, so this is not just the food. If we look at this from psychological standpoint, then we mostly talk about psychological reasons that could lead this eating disorder. So can you tell more about this causation of stress or maybe this ability, a lack of ability to manage their emotions?
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that, and maybe I would address it to trauma. I'm sorry. So says yeah. So ability not having ability to manage emotions is a very big part, because if we don't know how to what to do with our emotions, usually first what we do is food, because it was like instinct that our that parents gave us, and it is also very addressed to trauma. So if a person has a trauma or had a trauma, it will affect a lot of, or it will actually provide specific characteristics, I would say. For example, if there was abundance and the person will always not feel safe in environment, so he or she will use food as a safety, as a thing that gives safety. So when I'm eating, I feel safe because I feel grounded, for example, or it gives me serotonin at least, yeah, and I feel much better. So um, maybe if I will say about specific characteristics, I would say compulsivity. How would I say that? A compulsive person. Yeah. Also, personal disorders. Sorry, not borderline disorders. Traumas, depression, PTSD. Also, and I'm talking not about personality. I'm talking about comorbidity. But this stuff very affect
What
um,
about anxiety?
anxiety disorder also, but it's sorry, too loud. It's more about, I guess, compulsive. I mean OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. About counting carbs. I don't know, calories.
Calories in general, I think.
Um, Compulsivity in behaviors, for example, being obsessed with physical activity, with working on, I don't know, reworking what you eat, for example, and yeah, all in this area, I would say that this like affects so much, and if we're talking about trauma, it's also very hard component because it's depend on was it a multi-trauma, and was it even one line trauma, how intense it was. But usually if there was some stuff that happening in family, for example, when person was crying on and his family, her family was also not even obsessed with dieting, but even having some rules about clean plate, for example, or having sweets only after main food, or etc etc. And at that point, person also having trauma, even in family, not in family, doesn't matter. And when these components connect, and plus by taking the personal characteristics, my goodness, um, sensitivity or emotional reactivity, and that's how we can get an eating disorder. And plus, if we will add here genes, This is a very huge that we have here. So it's really not that easy, but it's not only about food. It's not about trying to lose weight. It's all about what stands behind. Because usually, if the person wants to um, lose weight, uh, we will always ask what actually proves that desire, what pushed you to have this desire, and we will find out a lot of stuff. And also, I forgot about very important characteristics is perfectionism and high standards that the person has, and high requirements to yourself or to themselves. And it's not that easy also to treat, because perfectionism is very honored today and very worshipped in our society as actually weight and body size and whatever. And that's why when we're working with that, usually it's hard to take out, because we love or we like to make stuff perfectly fine. And today is very popular to be to go or to, I don't know, to to have perfection in everything. I don't know, do you agree with me?
Yes, I wanted to ask about parents. High standards and this perfectionism is not just suddenly happens from early ages, right? So somehow parents can affect this. So what would you advise to young parents that have young children? For example, if we take 10 girls, it's not necessarily if all of them have lowest self-esteem, for example, not necessarily 10 of them will get and will have an eating disorder, for example, in puberty, right?
Mm-hmm. Very important stuff, actually. Yeah. So if we take 10 girls with a low self-esteem, it depends where they have their sensitive place. Some of them will go to depression, some of them will go
Oh.
to anxiety disorder, and some of them will go to eating disorder. And it's, yeah, that, as I said, it's depend on your background, on your personal issues, and on your story, what you have. And if we're talking about high standards, and if it was as appreciation, like if, for example, parents was not seeing a personality in their kid, and they were always accepting or appreciate only after rewards or after good marks or after being good. So the person find out or like catches this pattern, and then he or she tries to be not perfect, even good, and more rewards to have their appreciation, to have their attention, to have their love, acceptance. And one of the most easiest way, I would say, it's body, because you can control it. You can control your measurements, you can control your diet, your carbs, calories, your weight. And it's like, it's easier and it's not, because it's actually catching you, and then you're becoming a slave of it, and it's hard to get out. But um, it is one of the way how I can actually reach my high standards, and how I can approve expectations of my parents or person whom I'm trying to attract, or whose actual appreciation I'm trying to take. So parents actually take a big role, and as Freud says, that everybody who has parents needs a therapy.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
It's not only about high standards. It's I guess it's also about patterns, as I said, which family has at near the
Always
table.
looking for appreciation. You know, I know many sportsmen, young girls that are 14, 15 years, and they uh, have a really high standards. They're master of sports already, especially in gymnastics, and they always look for appreciation from their parents. And what I hear from their parents is just, you need to work harder, you need to be better, you need to be the best, you need to, etc. So of course, then I see that she starts to count calories and says that she needs to keep a diet, etc., and then it can lead to eating disorder.
Unfortunately, it's popular, not popular, it's getting wide and wider, eating disorder between athletics. And actually, about this, like getting high and more higher rewards, I remember one of my clients, when we were talking with eating disorder, when we were talking about parents' appreciation, she always said that nobody actually like there wasn't saying that there is bad marks or good marks, even if she like got A plus or B or C, doesn't matter. She said I was always like studying hard and I was always getting only the higher marks. But when we get into um, into the story, into deep actually details, we find out that her parents was not given any reactions when she like brought, for example, B, like which is, I don't know which system do you have there. It's like 4 from 5, so it's like a little bit less than the highest mark, just a little, and they were just like, okay, whatever. So it's not that they were sending her message that it's also good, 4 it's enough. It doesn't matter actually which marks you bring in, like matter
and
how.
and only in case of getting the highest grade, they give her appreciation.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
So
yeah,
they were not punishing her for bad marks, but
yeah.
were not given any reaction, any appreciation, any acceptance for medium marks, even not even for bad one. I'm talking about even medium one. So can you imagine how like how big impact it has on her life after years, because she never felt that she's enough, with being in somewhere in the middle. Only higher marks was accepted, or was even not accepted, was appreciated. So she always was trying to reach the highest goals, and it was always not enough because there was always something bigger after the big goals, as you said, like the God Master of Sport. Yeah, if I'm right.
Yeah.
And there, I'm sure there's something bigger than this, and that's why um, they're always not like it's not enough for them, because the reason of it is the deepest feelings that I'm not enough. So
I'm not enough. I
I'm
totally understand what you're talking about, because this is close to me. I had the same situation in my family, and it was common. For example, if I come home and tell mom, can you imagine I got the 5th grade? And she told like, good girl. And other day when I came and she asks, how are you doing? And I said, well, I got 2 4s. And she said, okay. So it's just you're waiting for appreciation, but it never comes in adults. Yeah. So okay, so can we make like talking in general, what can you advise to young parents that can live, because we today want to cover especially behavior that can that from early ages can lead to eating disorder in adult. So what would you advise to parents, and what would you advise to a person who has developed his eating disorder himself? How to, what to, where to maybe ask for help, or what can he do himself?
a person or parents, or
But first to cover with parents, and then what would you advise to a person who has developed already this eating disorder, and he cannot and he doesn't know whether started from the diet, from dieting, or maybe you will tell about intuitive eating or Marsha Herring,
oh,
etc. So we can talk all about this.
okay. So with parents, I would say it's most important thing is to cover needs of your kid. So all of us were born with desire to be loved, to be accepted, for others to believe in us. And I would say that this is the core thing that it's most important. It's to show your kids that he or she is enough, that you always will accept your kid no matter what. Of course, I'm not talking about some like I don't know, crazy behavior or dangerous behavior, but I'm talking about uh, not even marks for everything, because your kid actually desire to be accepted and appreciated in your eyes. And even if you I remember I saw something a few days ago on Instagram, like even if parents behave in a bad way to their kids, um, sending messages that the kid is, I don't know, not enough, or the kid is doing bad. So a child accepted as I am bad. Not my parents. Is everything okay? I got a
Yeah,
call.
it's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a kid actually got the message that I'm bad, I'm not enough. Not my parents is bad. Even, for example, if they use an aggressive behavior against their kid. So kid is accepting it as I'm bad. Something is wrong with me. So the most important thing is to address to your kids that he or she is enough. You accept her or him, and you will always be near, and you believe in them, and to find out what is their strength, sorry, and what is important, what they have. It's not always about being the best student at school. Sometimes it's about being, I don't know, musician, drawing. Today actually everything is changing from upside down, new professions, new, I don't know, new things that's coming up, popping up, I would say, even like very, very fast. And you have to believe in your kid, in what they, in where they're leading you, and help them, because they don't know, but you can help them, not by neglecting their desires, hobbies, but in believing in them and just showing them the right direction with love and acceptance. So like, I accept you and I accept your choice, but if you allow me, I would give you an advice. Yeah, and when they hear that you believe in them, you accept them, they are actually accepting your view. They're not trying to be against you. But when you say no, they're trying to stand in opposition, and they also say no to you. So it is important to be a team here.
Okay, so by needs, we are talking about just emotional standpoint, or needs that, for example, they need something to buy to school, or it can be clothes, or whatever they want, or what do you mean by
Oh,
needs?
okay. Yeah, physical is also important. I just was like thinking that everybody here is taking care, physical care about their kids, like normal eat food and whatever. But if we're talking about like doing whatever they want, buying them whatever they want. So no, I'm talking about more emotional needs. And I
Mhm.
remember there was a very important phrase about parenting and like in psychology, that you cannot overdose with love for your kids. But love here means this emotional being, like being around, being close to your kid. But it doesn't mean that you have to um, do whatever they are asking you to do. I mean, like buying a lot of stuff, or I don't know how to say that. Like saying yes to everything what they want to. It's not
Mhm.
about that. It's about being emotional for your kid. Like,
And be
uh,
supportive,
yeah,
right?
be supportive. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, being supportive. Being like sharing your love, but it's not about like, you don't have to share your love with gifts. You can share your love with a hug, a kiss, just even sitting near when they have a hard emotional time. Just send them, like addressing them, like, I feel what you feel, I see that you're angry right now. I see that you are sad right now. How can I help you here? But yeah, if you will only um, saying yes to, like if you think that love is if you get it wrong, yeah, and you will like it's hard for you to be emotional, not for you but for a person, if it's hard being emotional near your kid, and all what you're trying to do is send gifts, I don't know, and like behaviorally in other way show them love, it won't actually cover their core needs. So this is the most important, the core needs of a human to grow um, a wise human, not a wise, I forgot that word, a healthy adult. So to be a healthy adult, to grow up as a healthy adult, you need to cover their core needs. And then the core needs, it's like in general, I could say that it's to be loved, to be appreciated, to be accepted, to be even to be believed, if I can say that, for others to believe in me that that I'm a personal, and I have my strengths and I have my weak side, and I have my desires, and I can be somebody in this world. And kid can't actually, child can't see what it is important in him, what it is special, what it is their gifts. They can try to show you, but you're the one, you're the parents, is the one who needs to take it and make it a whole thing and help your kid to increase it or develop it or go in that direction. Is it making sense?
Okay. Yeah, it really makes sense. And I totally understand what you are talking about, because in my family, I did not have any problems with like food at home, and everything that I wanted, my parents could buy me. But what I was deprived of is emotions from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And growing myself like a lot with a very low esteem, I became a person that could not self-regulate with emotions. But what if we're talking about a person who can self-regulate with his emotions, but from the early ages he did not have a proper nutrition? What I mean by that is that it was chaotic, kind of chaotic, and he could eat everything that he could find at home, and maybe it's just bread or piece of hamburger or piece of pizza. So what can you say about this? Can poor diet or like poor nutrition from early ages can lead to eating disorder?
Yeah, sure. For example, let's say if we're not getting enough of nutrition, and plus there is restriction at family that you cannot eat bad food like fast food or sweets, so the body needs some ingredients here, some nourishment in such areas. And what we usually crave on, yeah, what we usually binge on is the food that is restricted, because we cannot understand our body, we cannot understand what is that need, because we didn't have a proper plate with whole ingredients, and then we start eating I don't like marking food or labeling food as bad food, but like wrong food that actually our body was not needed at the moment. So let's take an example. For example, I don't know, Dan. He is 17 years old, and in his family, his mom was always asking him to have a clean plate, do not eat sweets before food or before main food, and no fast food. That fast food was forbidden. So every Friday, when his mom is, I don't know, at night at work, he's buying a whole pizza and a big basket of ice cream and eating it because, first of all, mom is not here, yeah, and he's having a great cravings for this forbidden food. And second, probably he's not eating right, so he's not having not right patterns, behavioral and nutrition part here, because I'll go on the side a little bit. I usually say that I'm against bad food and good food labeling, and my mission is to tell people that you have to eat all food. You have to eat. There is no bad food nor good food. There's just the food. And usually people get me wrong because these things that I'm saying about eating hamburgers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but it's not about that. When you are intuitive eater, I'll talk about it later, but it's about nourishing yourself as a wise adult. It's about allowing yourself to eat everything, but it's also about taking care and responsibility to take care about your body and to have every part of this healthy plate, if we could say that. Yeah, it's about carbs, it's about fats, it's about proteins, it's about I don't know, even having a food of a cup of joy or whatever. So it is important to take care about all of the spheres of your life, and it is very important to take care about your to nourish yourself, because usually what happens when a person diets, they restrict particular part of carbs, for example, or calories, and it goes against your body needs, because your body needs all of that stuff to be to work in a healthy way, to function in a healthy way, actually. So yeah, it is very important to, it's not about dieting, it's about taking care about your body needs. For example, everybody knows that we need to sleep, that we need to use the bathroom,
Right.
and we need to, I don't know, walk and have fun. And we never say that if I'm taking care about, I don't know, sleeping enough, it is something that I'm binging on. Yeah, I'm taking care about my body, and I'm taking as much
Right.
as I need. And if I need some fun or I need rest, we never say I binge on resting. It means I'm super tired and I'm actually, maybe I have burnout syndrome. So it's about taking care of your body and giving your body what your body needs. Sounds all.
Okay, but if we talk about intuitive eating, it's almost impossible for binge eater, or for a person who struggles with bulimia, with anorexia or orthorexia, whatever. It's important to understand that first you have to strictly go with the protocol that Marsha Herring allows us. So what I usually, and what that was my situation when I binged on sweets, on desserts, but what I had lack in my regime, in my nutrition, was complex carbohydrates, and vice versa. For example, when person says that I do not like to eat complex carbohydrates, it will lead him to overeat with simple carbohydrates. So
Yes.
can you tell more about the protocol, and then we will go to the intuitive eating?
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's right. If the person has an eating disorder, uh, he or she actually, I can't say it's impossible, but it's super duper hard to be intuitive eater, because there is less connections with your body, less connection in understanding your body signals. So it's hard. So first, what we need is a physical restoration or physical recovery, and physical recovery includes your eating part, not only eating but all physical health, and also this part of Marsha Herring protocol. And Marsha actually is a nutritionist, and I guess she's a dietologist, and she has her anorexia. No, first she had an anorexia, and she was actually um, she was on treatment in the hospital, and because in America, yeah, if you have an anorexia, you have to go to hospital, and they actually have some actually period of time where you have treatment. And after the treatment, she recovered from anorexia to like a healthy weight and whatever. And after that, after I guess maybe a year or in years, she started to have a binge eating.
If I'm not mistaken, it took almost 17 years for her to recover from anorexia.
I don't remember the fact.
17. I remember
Wow.
her dialogue with the Svetlana Bronikova, and she told about 17 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa.
But I have to check
Whoa.
with that. Yes.
Well,
So it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's a big actually. It's a big amount of time. So yeah, so after anorexia, she started to have a binge eating, and she found out that something is not working here. Why? Yeah, because we have some protocols how to help person to recover from anorexia and bulimia, and that protocols actually it included some special rules about eating, but it was not enough. So as a nutrition, she found out the way how to help her patients with and herself. And what she found out it's a model how her grandparents was eating. So that old ages patterns of eating, and she says that it's very important to have three main meal, two snacks, and it's very important to have all of that, yeah, nutritions or ingredients, carbs and proteins and fats, and vegetable or fruit in almost every how do you say that, in every meal. And what else is important to say, also the calcium product, yeah, because usually people with eating disorders, they have lack of calcium. Why calcium? Because with ordinary food that we eat every day, we got everything what we need. So every day we need to have a 50 main macro and micronutrients, and with getting that, we can get that from food, but calcium is the most hardest to get. So that's why we're taking calcium by ourselves, aside of main foods we're having. And there is actually no rules what you have to have on your plate. It's about rule only of having this group of ingredients like carbs, yeah, and proteins and fruits or vegetable. It's up to you, but you are choosing food by yourself. And after at least 3-4 months of like taking this rule of three that she called, a person gets that physical recovery, and only after that and some psychological works on your patterns with food, on your fears, on still binging, for example, or etc., only after that we can come slowly to intuitive eating. Because intuitive eating, it's about listening to your body and accepting signals and taking care about that signals. But if you have eating disorder, you cannot hear your body, because there is a war between your mind and your body, because they're trying to win. Your mind is trying to win with the rules of how to lose weight, for example, or with how to eat right, or with how to eat, I don't know, high quality food. And your body is starving and asking to give food that your body needs. So till that time, when your body and your mind will be a team, you'll have a war. And until that war won't be finished, unfortunately, yeah, you can't be an intuitive eater. You can't hear your body, you can hear your signals. Because first, what you need is restoration, and first, what you need is getting back to your roots, to your, I would say even to your, I forgot that word, main settings of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, main settings. Upgrade it to zero level. Go back to where you lost your connection, where you lost the trust of your body. And it's the most biggest fear is that I'm afraid to trust my body, because I'm afraid that my body will be against me or my body will take over. And this is about actually your past experience, because when you always was trying to take over of your body, uh, you always got that war back, because your body has a strong instinct to take care about yourself, to survive. And if it's starving, if there's not enough of food or ingredients to be alive, your body will do a war inside of you, and it will find it out as soon as it possible, and in the ways your body find like qualified. So usually it's about overeating, and overeating it's actually the most highest instinct to survive and to help you. So it's not about your lack of your will, it's about survival mechanisms that helps you to survive. So yeah, maybe I should also say about protocols that we use.
Yes, but first I wanted to ask the last question. I think um, about calories, because among my audience there are many girls and many women that still counting calories, and they afraid that this is a very high amount. They have anxiety and they do not trust their body, and all that I hear from them is that if I stop counting calories, I will gain weight. So is it emotional regulation? Is it problems with their body image? What can you advise to them? Because I understand that this is low self-esteem comes from their parents, their attitude. So maybe they have to work not on their calories, not on their plate, but this is the attitude with their parents or even themselves. Being adult, can they work on their self-image, or what can you say about not health and exercise? We're talking just about weight, because they all feel that, okay, I will be healthy when I become 50 or 60. I will think about that. But now I'm 30, I'm 20, and all I want to see is the beauty of my body when I look at the mirror.
Unfortunately, nowadays is very, very worshipped our body size and um, not even body, yeah, how I look like. And social media is sending that message at least every day, or sometimes even few times a day. Yeah, it's all over this fat talks and whatever, and it's really hard to stop accepting these messages. But yeah, sometimes people use this strategy of counting calories, for example, or losing weight in a very dangerous way. And what you only get after, it's not about bodies that gives you that what you're trying to reach. Unfortunately, it's about getting worst scenario with health issues after, and not only. And counting calories, it's something that broke your body, I would say, because it's when you're trying to control your body, and it's always finished always with compensatory behavior such as overeating.
So you
Overeating
cannot
or
get another result, just getting the same thing that doing all over again and getting another result. You will
yeah,
get the same result over and over again.
always in every dieting, in every restricting food behavior, there's only two ways that you have in the finish line. First is anorexia, or extremely not small weight, how to say that, low weight, and second one is overeating. And when you got overeating, what you do, you go on dieting, and then you again overeat, and then you again diet, and you overeat. And the most interesting stuff that your weight is actually increasing and increasing and increasing after every time of your dieting. And there is a lot of research work that shows that uh, people who was trying to diet, they were getting their weight, like most of two from three were getting their weight in 1 year. No, one from three were getting their weight in 1 year. Two from three were getting their weight in 5 years. So you will
Oh yeah.
actually, you will always go back to your weight, and even more. Unfortunately, yeah, people who starts with trying to losing weight from 70 getting into 100, and then it is even more harder to go back to your set point, to your weight where you started. So it's always finishing with this overeating, getting weight, or extremely low weight, which is even more dangerous than overweight. So yeah, unfortunately,
I
counting.
remember my story starting dieting from, I don't remember, maybe I was 14 or 13, but my eating disorder started right there from dieting. So I totally understand what you are talking about. And what I want to say is that this is such a complex question that we have to look from the different sides. And thank you for being here with us today, because we have covered a lot. And what I wanted to say that Joanna just gave a present to everyone who came to this live, and I will send to everybody I will send everyone resources that you gave, some books, and what else was there? Can you talk more about that, and we will finish?
I guess I will change it a little bit because is there only healthcare professionals or other people also here?
No, there are people from I think with dieting with
Okay.
diet problems, yes, and people that are general interested in eating disorder theme.
Okay, so I will change it a little bit. I had there like protocols for healthcare professionals that I chose, and there is a very important my favorite podcast with Evelyn Tribal. She's an actually the I can say founder of intuitive eating with Liz. So I very like suggest for you to listen it. It's in English, but if you are here, it means that you understand English. And I will also send you some interesting material about how to understand if I'm having an eating disorder, which with what can I get if I will continue dieting, and so on. And maybe I will also send you some workbooks for yourself. And I really recommend you to read a book of Evelyn Tribal. I even have it here. It is in Russian and it is in English, but it's about understanding your body and how to understand why dieting culture has that big impact on yourself and why it's not working, and how to get back to your roots of understanding your body. So if I can start with, I would suggest this mostly, and it is in English and it is in Russian, so I really recommend you to read it.
Yes, but when we talk about eating disorder, then we cannot start just with eating intuitively. We also have to start with working with our emotions, and sometimes it's need a help from specialists like a psychologist.
Yeah,
And to become an intuitive eater, it takes time, right?
yeah, it
So
is.
how much time usually takes? You have such a big experience. How much time does it take to a person with a, I don't know, maybe several years of eating disorder? How much time does it usually take to
Mm.
become an intuitive eater?
It is super duper hard question because it depends on each personality, but I would say that 2 years at least. So 1 year we're taking for recovery, for physical recovery, for changing your behavioral patterns, your psychological characteristics, not psychological characteristics, but we're working on perfectionism. And only after that, person starts clearly see that there is something um, around, not only about my body, but not about my body as things that I'm trying to control, but my body as a body that gives me life. Some, if I gave it right, but yeah, it took, I guess, at least 2 years to become like intuitive eater. Maybe after a year, a person starts to understand their body more and taking care more, and starts at skills. Sometimes it can be faster, depends on how intensive or how hard, and which comorbidity we have on the side, but something like that. Unfortunately, or no, maybe it's a good news for somebody.
Okay, great. I think we have covered many things, many topics today, and I really appreciate that you have found some time for being with us. So, hope maybe we'll have another live if you have a time. Yes, and what I want you to say, I want to thank you. Thank you so much, Joanna and Admiral, for such an informative and thought-provoking discussion. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everyone. We will send some information and some links, maybe, yes, resources. If you have resources in Russian, it will be maybe useful for our audience as well. So let's finish with it. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.